So our next speaker, also commercial, program you've heard a lot about. So we're going to hear from Gwynne Shotwell. She is the president and CEO of SpaceX. Gwynne, all yours.
Thanks very much, Gordon. Thanks so much for the invite to come speak here today. I'm going to preface this. I'm going to keep saying next year, and it's going to mean this year. It's 2018. I still haven't wrapped my head around that. So what I wanted to talk to you about, I'll touch a little bit on our crew program, but really what I wanted to talk about is kind of what SpaceX is doing now, but what SpaceX wants to do in the future, and how does that relate to Texas. So I'll go ahead and start. Actually, my presentation is mostly videos with a little bit of chatter in between. Look forward to your questions. I always start out a presentation with my overall SpaceX video. But I thought because here in Texas, I thought you guys were most interested in some of the activities we're in Texas. So we're going to show a new video from our Texas test site in McGregor. I think there's supposed to be sound. So we keep the McGregor residents on their toes with the rocket engines that we fire there on a daily basis. I think our record right now is 8 engine firing in a day. But we love McGregor, and McGregor loves us. We've brought jobs, we've brought excitement, and fundamentally, every SpaceX vehicle that goes to space goes through McGregor, Texas, for testing. So that's it's really awesome. It's an incredibly important part of the SpaceX team. We also are working on a launch site in Brownsville, Texas, as well, which is very exciting. Now that will be ready late this year or early next year, certainly for some early vehicle testing, and we'll continue on with that site, moving from a test site into a launch site. So let's talk a little bit of background on SpaceX and what we're doing and what are the vehicles that we're using to do it. Falcon 9 is the workhorse rocket for SpaceX right now. We fly commercial telecommunications satellites to geostationary transfer orbit. We fly low Earth orbit missions for science, for NASA, for other commercial customers. Iridium missions, we're flying 7 missions for them. We fly critically our cargo Dragon vehicle to the International Space Station on a Falcon 9 from both Launch Complex 39A as well as Launch Complex 40 now. Happy to say that's back up and running for the flight that we executed, the CRS-13 flight that's on station right now. So Falcon 9 is the workhorse. As far as Dragon goes, the combination Falcon 9 Dragon is also a workhorse for SpaceX and for NASA, bringing critical cargo to and critically from the International Space Station back to Earth. Falcon Heavy, the next vehicle that we are rolling out as a company, is on the launch pad right now, actually. We're working through the activities to get through a static fire before launch a few weeks after we complete the static fire. We're stepping through this carefully. It is a beast of a vehicle. Falcon 9 is a beast. Falcon Heavy is 3 of them strapped together. So we're stepping through that very carefully. The combination of Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy will take all the payloads to their orbital destinations that we can conceive of at this particular moment in time. So with those 2 vehicles, that will basically be the revenue stream, or that will provide the revenue stream to SpaceX in order to move forward with some of our advanced technology and our innovations that we're working on as well. I'll talk a little bit about that. Another shout out to the Cargo Dragon. I've got one right now on station. We executed 4 missions to the International Space Station last year. That was a record for us, which was extraordinary. NASA has been an extraordinary partner for SpaceX. We love NASA, our largest customer and partner as well. Now, Chris spent a lot of time talking about his commercial crew program. We have a commercial crew program as well. And I think if you think about how NASA is stepping through the crew program incredibly smartly, they have 2 providers. And we're not in really a competitive mode, although I'm sure we both feel very competitive about who's going to get to station first with astronauts. There's 2 independent providers, very independent providers, working to provide capability to get American astronauts back on American vehicles to the International Space Station. Incredibly intelligent way to step forward with that. They started with public-private partnerships that led to the commercial crew program that we're both executing right now. Crew Dragon, you saw some Super Draco testing in the Texas video. Super Draco is the get out of the way of the rocket engine that we have for our Dragon program. The Dragon 2 is similar to Dragon 1, except that it has this cargo or this crew escape system, which is necessary to meet NASA requirements and, frankly, is necessary to maintain crew safety in the case that there is an issue with the rocket. Never want to have an issue with the rocket, but it does happen, and you want to make sure that the astronauts are safe even when something terrible happens on the rocket side. So we're firing those Super Draco engines. As a matter of fact, we've got a jetpack on the stand in Texas right now. We should be firing here in the next couple days. We have completed our pad abort test with the Dragon capsule. We're in the process now of doing a bunch of crew training and crew testing coming out of the capsule when it's in the water, all the crew display activity and making sure we get the displays that the crews can read when they're executing these critical missions. As far as timelines go, we're sitting right on top. Actually, Boeing and SpaceX are sitting right on top of each other with respect to anticipated flights. We will do 3 more big system test missions. We did the pad abort already. We did that in 2015. We've got the first uncrewed vehicle that will go to space station in August. And then we will do an in-flight abort test as well, basically have Dragon escape off the Falcon 9 rocket in its most difficult time to escape, make sure that lands successfully. That is an uncrewed flight. And then we should end the year this year with a crew flight to the International Space Station. So that will be it's going to be an incredibly exciting year for commercial crew with SpaceX and Boeing flying astronauts to the station this year, finally being able to bring that critical capability back to the United States. So I've talked about SpaceX vehicles. I want to chat a little bit about what are the future developments? Already talked about commercial crew. We are looking at a commercial cargo capability with that Dragon 2 version. Another really critical element is reusability. There was a question asked about how do you make things less expensive in space. Space is enormously expensive. Even when we are considered the low-cost provider, it's still $60 million is a really expensive. That's not low cost. That's really expensive. What SpaceX is trying to do is turn the rocket and space transportation industry into something that more mimics the aircraft industry. You can imagine how hard it would be to get to Houston if you're not Houston residents, if the aircraft were not reusable. If I were to fly from LA to Houston or LA to New York and they tossed the aircraft after that mission, we wouldn't be doing a lot of air travel. And so what we're trying to do is turn our rockets into vehicles that can be reused. And we have demonstrated it. Last year, in fact, we flew 4 flight-proven stages, meaning the first stage had flown a mission. We brought it back to Earth in a quite spectacular way, whether we land on land or whether we land on the drone ship. We refurbish that and get it ready for flight. And that's great, but it's not great enough. You can't refurbish an aircraft after every flight to drive down costs to where we want the cost to be, where we really can make space accessible to a far greater set of the population than it is right now. And so I want to show a few videos on our path to reusability. But fundamentally, the Dragon capsule is a reusable capsule. Ascent portion is hard on the vehicle, but we are bringing critical science back. So it's got to survive the reentry phase as well, intact, to bring that science and that data back. So Dragon was really the initial start of the whole reusability effort for SpaceX, because we consider up and back to be reusable, but we also have flown flight-proven Dragons as well, basically flown more than one mission. So I'm going to show a really, I think, a fun video, and I'll talk about how this appeared in the press afterwards. So that was our first attempt at landing a rocket. I actually considered it a huge success because we hit the boat, right? That first stage did it, by the way, it executed its initial mission to get the second stage dropped off and onto its mission to orbit. And then we basically did a series of maneuvers to bring that first stage back. It's out in the middle of the ocean, 600 miles downrange. And we hit the boat. I thought that was tremendous. Now everybody was kind of nervous until I was jumping up and down in the control room. We hit the boat. Yay. We were criticized in the media, but we're used to that at this point. So that was the first attempt at landing a stage. Now I'm going to show you another one. This is basically like a GoPro type camera that we have on the first stage, showing the vehicle landing. There is no sound on this one, so don't worry, sound guys. Basically, the first stage takes off, goes downrange, of course, drops off the second stage, flips around, fires back towards the launch site. Even when we're landing on a drone ship, we tend to have the drone ship closer to land. So we fly back, flip the rocket around again to fire to slow it down during reentry. And then the third burn on the whole recovery process is the landing burn, which we leverage just more than a few seconds, but a few dozen seconds prior to landing on the drone ship. There we go. I think this is our reentry burn. So we basically got through the atmosphere. We're falling pretty fast. Getting faster. Now we've initiated the landing burn. Kind of real time, by the way. Legs deploy, land on the drone ship. Oh, yeah, super cool. This is so, and I always forget that this is, you guys don't live and breathe this every day. I live and breathe this every day. We recovered every first stage last year that we intended to, and I know I'm going to get the number wrong. We flew 18 times. Some of the missions were too heavy to actually recover the first stage. We didn't have enough propellant. I think we landed 14, 15 successfully. Some on a drone ship, some we actually come back to land, which is really exciting, by the way. I recommend if you can get to Florida for a land landing SpaceX mission. You feel that. You feel that stage coming home. It's pretty exciting. And the Falcon Heavy mission, both side boosters will come back and land on land. Center Core will land downrange. That will be really extraordinary. Can't wait for that one to go. So this is some more footage. This was captured, so here, I'll talk through it a little bit. So first stage just finished its mission. Stage separates. It's going to flip around, fire back towards the launch site. And the reason why we captured this footage actually is because this was for a classified mission that we executed in April of 2017. And classified guys don't like all the optics that we have on the rocket on them. So we have to turn away from the second stage and the payload, and we had all this expensive instrumentation focused just on the first stage. And the footage came back extraordinary. So I probably won't talk much more through this. I'll let you watch it, but it's incredible. There you go. Supersonic retro propulsion. We're getting to be experts on that. This is where the video starts to look fake. It's not fake. Doesn't it look fake? It looks fake. And there we go. Super cool. Yep. All right. I am running out of time. I did not better time my videos. So all this technology is leading to one of the other projects that we're working on, and that is to make life interplanetary. My boss, Elon Musk, founded this company to take people to other planets. We picked Mars. It's kind of a fixer-upper planet. It just happens to be close, and we believe it can sustain life. So we've got our eyes on Mars. We will obviously participate in the lunar programs going to date. It is, to some extent, a proving ground. It is easier to get to the moon than it is to Mars. But anyhow, I'm going to do a very quick video on our perspective on a mission to Mars. So I'm a tiny bit over my time. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Okay, we do have time for one question. One question out there? Okay, yep, one question. There you go.
Where's Sulu?
You know I can't talk about that. It's not my story to tell.
Buzz?
How does the Falcon Heavy compare with the new Glenn?
I believe Falcon Heavy is substantially bigger. I don't have the statistics offhand. I'll get it to you, Buzz.